The desert wind had a voice that morning. It moved across the barren flats and whispering dunes like a tired ghost, carrying the smell of diesel, dust, and the faint echo of something burning far away. Captain Jonathan Hale stood outside the perimeter wall of Hawk Nest, helmet off, cigarette smoldering between his fingers, eyes fixed on the horizon where the sun was clawing its way through the haze. He hadn't slept much since Korengal. None of them had. The nights came heavy now, filled with the memory of screaming metal and broken radios, of Mason's sniper callouts drowned by thunder and static. 3 weeks had passed since that valley swallowed the echoes of their fight, but inside, it hadn't really ended. Behind him, the base slowly came alive. Distant laughter from the mechanic's tent, the thud of boots against gravel, the whir of a generator coughing into rhythm. Another day, another mission waiting to be named. Captain, a voice called behind him. Hale turned to see Diaz, drone operator and habitual insomniac, clutching a tablet and a steaming mug of instant coffee. His face was half hidden behind mirrored glasses even though the sun was barely up. "Ops wants us in the talk," Diaz said. "They got something brewing." Hale flicked the cigarette into the dirt. "Let me guess, back to Sangin?" Diaz hesitated. "Yeah, that's the rumor." Hale didn't respond. He simply nodded once, hard, the way soldiers do when the world stops giving them choices. Inside the Tactical Operations Center, the air was thick with tension and stale coffee. Maps were spread across tables, red markers circling a region near Sangin, where insurgent activity had recently spiked again. The same valley they bled in months ago. Colonel Reeves, the unit commander, pointed to a photo clipped to the board, a grainy satellite image showing a cluster of compounds near the Helmand River. 3 days ago, an Afghan interpreter by the name of Hamid Darwish was taken by insurgents, Reeves said. He worked with Marine units in Sangin for 2 years. Intel suggests they plan to use him to extract comm frequencies or possibly lure in rescue teams. Hale leaned forward. "You think it's bait?" Reeves' expression hardened. "We don't assume bait, we treat it like one. Bravo 6 will move in, retrieve Darwish if he's alive, confirm enemy presence, and get out clean. No heroics, no extended firefights." Mason, sitting beside Hale, muttered, "When was the last time any of that happened?" Keller elbowed him, but the colonel only smirked grimly. "That's why it's you boys going." The room fell silent. Orders were issued, loadouts confirmed, and the team dispersed. Hale stayed behind for a moment, staring at the photo of Hamid pinned on the map. He remembered the man, a thin, sharp-eyed interpreter with a nervous laugh who'd saved their hides once near Kandahar. The thought of him being dragged through Sangin's mud turned Hale's stomach cold. Night cloaked the valley when the Chinook dropped them 2 clicks south of Sangin. The rotors cut through the humid air, throwing waves of dust across the barren field. Hale crouched low, headset pressed tight, eyes scanning the ridgelines lit faintly by moonlight. They moved in a staggered formation, Keller up front, Hale in the middle, Mason covering rear, and Diaz monitoring a handheld drone feed as they approached the first compound cluster. The mud walls were cracked and silent. A donkey brayed somewhere in the dark. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and gun oil. "Thermals clear," Diaz whispered, eyes flicking across the screen. "But something's off. No movement, no heat signatures at all." Hale frowned. "Even in Sangin, people sleep. Not disappear." They breached the first compound, empty. Pots still warm, tea unfinished, a half-folded prayer rug by the wall. It felt wrong. Then Keller's voice came over comms, tense. "Cap, found something outside." Hale stepped into the narrow alley. Keller was kneeling beside a small mound of dirt. From it protruded the edge of a broken radio antenna, the same model used by coalition forces. Hale's blood ran cold. Where the hell did they get that? Diaz swallowed. Unless someone gave it to them. They buried that thought quickly. Too dangerous to entertain in the field. By dawn, they'd swept 3 more compounds. Each one empty. No sign of Hamid. Then Mason spotted it. A flicker of movement on a far ridge, just before sunrise. "Contact," he whispered. 1 tango, maybe 2. Scoped in. Through his sniper lens, Hale saw a shadow dart between rocks, then vanish. No shot fired. No sound. "Bait confirmed," Hale muttered. "They know we're here." Seconds later, a booby trap went off 50 meters away, pressure plate, crude but lethal. Dirt exploded skyward, and the concussive blast sent everyone diving for cover. Then came the gunfire. It started as scattered bursts, then escalated into a storm of AK fire and RPG shrieks from the hills. Hale yelled coordinates into his mic, returning fire with precision, controlled bursts. Diaz deployed the drone. A mechanical buzz that cut through chaos, and its feed revealed a line of fighters closing in from the east. 20 plus, Diaz shouted. Closing fast. Hale's pulse slowed. Years of combat carved that instinct into him, clarity when others panic. Mason, ridge left. Diaz, keep eyes on that feed. Keller, we hold until exfil is green. The firefight raged for what felt like hours but was only minutes. Bullets tore into mud walls, shattering windows. One round clipped Hale's shoulder plate, spinning him sideways. Pain flared, hot and quick. Cap, you good? Keller yelled. Just kissed, Hale grunted. Keep pushing them back. They fought like men cornered by ghosts, every shot echoing through the valley. Finally, an RPG screamed overhead, slamming into the compound roof. Dust rained down like ash. Hale coughed, spitting grit, and glanced toward the radio pack lying near the rubble. It was blinking, receiving a signal. Only, not theirs. Hale grabbed the radio, turning the dial. Amid static and gunfire, a voice came through, calm, deliberate, and eerily familiar. Captain Hale, you shouldn't have come back to Sangin. For a moment, he thought it was interference. But the tone, low, accented, made his stomach twist. Who is this? Hale barked. You know me. We've spoken before. You left me in Kandahar? Remember? Hale froze. His mind flashed to Hakim Darvazeh, the bombmaker from Korengal, presumed dead in an airstrike weeks ago. Darvazeh's dead, Hale snapped. The voice chuckled softly through static. Then why are you still hearing him? Before Hale could respond, the signal cut. A second later, an explosion ripped through the compound wall, throwing him backward into the dirt. The world went white. When the dust settled, Hale came to with Keller dragging him toward a crumbling doorway. The radio was gone, blown apart. Mason's voice was on comms, breathless. Birds inbound, 5 mics out. Hold your positions. They stumbled toward the extraction point under fire, bodies moving on pure instinct. Diaz lobbed smoke grenades while Mason's rifle cracked rhythmically, cutting down silhouettes in the haze. The Chinook arrived like thunder, rotors blasting dust and fire. The squad piled in as rounds pinged off its armor. Inside, medics pulled Hale onto a bench, blood trailing from his shoulder wound. As the chopper lifted, Hale looked down at Sangin, a place that had already taken too much. Through the thinning smoke, he saw something glinting where the radio had been. A coalition dog tag, not insurgent, American. They landed under an orange dusk. The base smelled of fuel and sweat. Hale stumbled out of the chopper, his arm bandaged, his mind racing. Reeves was waiting on the tarmac. Report? The colonel asked. Hale handed him the dog tag. Reeves turned it over. The name was scratched out, but one letter remained visible, R. Where did this come from? Reeves asked, brow furrowed. Hale met his eyes, his voice low. Sangin, someone on our side set us up again. The colonel's face hardened. You think it's the same leak as before? I don't think, Hale said. I know. That night, as Hale sat alone in his quarters, the desert wind returned, carrying the smell of smoke and the whisper of distant gunfire. He opened his notebook, the one he kept tucked under his pillow, and wrote a single line. The war isn't between us and them anymore. It's between the truth and whoever's trying to bury it. He closed the book, exhaled slowly, and stared at the cracked ceiling. Tomorrow, the sun would rise again over Helmand, and Bravo 6 would march back into the shadows. Because that's what soldiers do. They keep walking into the dark, even when the light feels like a lie.